Again, looking for a couch to sleep on, very clean, quiet. I work constantly. I can be outside all day. That's fine with me, or I'm going to be living in my car by November 30th. I realized I am so fed up with the high prices here, with barely getting by. I'm 33 years old. I've been working this YouTube channel for 10 years. Not a negative way. I'm not frustrated in a bad way. Like, I'm frustrated, like I know I'm not being myself. I'm not being authentic to myself. I'm living with roommates I don't talk to about this stuff ever. I can't be this other person. I don't want to be. Even if I could move somewhere cheaper, I'd still be barely getting by, and it'd be hard for me to even save money for a deposit. So why would I bother to do that? Why struggle? And here's the greater dilemma. It is too expensive to live around Northern Virginia. The bloat and inertia you have to overcome to live here. So I'm kind of doing this out of protest. I'm saying, I don't care how much money I end up making in December at the very least. It might be more months than that if I enjoy it and if I keep finding people who will host me. I don't want to give a single goddamn landlord my money for the month of December at the very least. I am sick of it. And it's not just the landlords. The banks then, they have the mortgages that the landlords pay. They make an exorbitant amount of money. And it's not just the banks, it's everything. The prices around here are so expensive. And you can look at the greater system. I'd like to see a heat map of where money goes around DC. You'd see very hot sectors for where the money goes to the defense contractors like Northrop Grumman and Boeing that make weapons to kill people overseas, to kill poor Arabs, to kill children, more advanced weapons to incinerate them from greater distances. Oh, we need it. We need the money. It's important for American safety. And you believe in protecting America, don't you? I would love to know just what one of those weapons could do as far as improving a street here, improving a crosswalk, improving an intersection, renovating a bridge, making for more public transportation. Because you know, we could pay everyone here 1,000 times over to have enough food for their lives, to have housing, to have medical care, to have good public transportation, to have good cars or whatever it is to get around. You know we could do that. But instead, what do? We have all this bloat and inertia. Oh, and we can't get cheap housing here either. There's a shortage of apartments around here. It's hard to even get a place because you need to make 40 times a year what 1 month's rent is at most apartments. That's what they want in the application process. So in other words, if you found an apartment around DC for $1,000, which is virtually impossible, they would want you to make $40,000 a year. So why the hell, if you're making that much money, presumably you have a skilled job and you've gotten a good education to do that. You have had to spend a lot of years studying hard in school and spent a lot of money. Why would you make that much money to only be approved for somewhere that someone really who's making $25,000 a year might want to spend their money on? Because in other words, that's what they can afford, but they're not allowed to get that. So for $40,000 a year, you're not even able to enjoy living in a place that $40,000 a year would get you. And a $2,000 apartment, well, you got to make $80,000 a year. And why are the apartments so damn expensive in the first place? Again, we could look at government contractors here, the weapons makers, the defense industry, the private contractors who work with the military, all kinds of things. It's not just the military, but all kinds of waste. I decided I'm sick of it. I don't want to contribute anything to a landlord for a while. I guess I'll still live in the area because my parents are around here, and as you know from watching my channel, I film with them a lot and I like filming with them. And it's important to, especially my mom, I feel like she would be kind of empty without having this now in her life to be able to film. I want to keep filming with her, but it is goddamn ridiculous. I'm doing this partly out of a protest, and there's another reason for doing it, which is a career move, but partly out of protest to say, hey, we should bring some focus to this issue of why the hell are people working 2 jobs, which many people are. They go cash their checks at the bank because they can't afford to deposit any money because they need to spend it all right away because housing's so expensive. I used to work at a bank. I saw that all the time, especially from immigrants. I am going to stay on couches partly out of protest of this, and I'm going to make videos about my life. I'm not going to film in anyone's house. I'm not going to bring guests over. Again, if you want to contribute in another way, you could just share this video, get it to as many people who will see it as possible so you can offer me a couch. And you can donate money to me on Patreon. My Patreon's linked in the description comments. And Streamlabs. Streamlabs really easy to donate to. I appreciate it if you want to. Patreon, you can make it recurring, or you can just do a one-time thing and cancel it after the first month, because it gets paid out on a monthly basis, so be aware of that. What's so emblematic of housing costs and what jobs pay in this area and the opportunities available is, if you go to Tyson's Corner Mall in McLean, Virginia, which one of the richest areas around here, and there's a lot of government contractors there too. You go in Tyson's Corner Mall around lunchtime. You see the tables going through the middle of the hallway between all the stores, and they're very, like, you know, high-end kind of stores, a lot of expensive stuff. At the lunch tables, you will see the construction workers, cleaning crews, the people who stock shelves, the people who do manual labor sitting there and eating from McDonald's. And the stores on the side, high-end stores that are this facade of happiness and pleasure. But the people who work there aren't making a lot of money. All that money goes up to the top to whoever runs these companies and the executives and people who know that this system works like that, who know they're going to benefit even though they haven't been there working as hard as these people who are in the stores, and the people who are working in the construction crews and cleaning crews who kind of don't have any way of moving up in those industries. I was there once. I saw it. It was so depressing to see. But that's emblematic of this area. I swear, it was like something out of Dawn of the Dead or something, out of some satirical movie. It was so sad to see. And why do we have this system? Why do we have it where rich white people can say, oh, I don't want the zoning laws to change and have more apartments here? No, it's not very white. We got to keep the rules white around here, because then it's going to bring in undesirable elements. If people can afford cheaper apartments around here, we can't have that. The property values have to stay high. What the hell is people's obsession with property values staying high? I would love to have so much money that I can buy a nice house in a nice neighborhood, and then years later when I want to sell it for half the price I bought it for no reason other than I want to help somebody out, and I don't want some bank to make a ton of money on the mortgage on it. So I can just say to them, hey, you're going to get a low price. They'll be like, whoa, what's wrong with the house? I'm like, nothing. I just want to sell it cheap. And they'll be like, well, what's wrong with the neighborhood? I'll say, nothing. Neighborhood's great. And here's where I bet the biggest problem would come in. I bet all these rich white neighbors would be like concerned. I bet they'd be ready to sue. They'd figure out some way to say what I'm doing is illegal. So, well, you can't do that. That's going to bring down my property values. Well, you're actually harming this neighborhood by selling a house at an affordable price to someone. I bet they would think of that, because you know they think of that. That's how homeowners associations work. They don't want you leaving your trash cans out on your curb for more than 6 hours, and they'll fine you for it because that brings down the property values. Everything's got to be so expensive to live in that there's no chance that you're going to be able to afford it if you work 3 jobs, 80 hours a week for 10 years. So this is partly a protest of this whole system where we have to pay so much to landlords, you have to pay so much to go to school, get an assload of schooling just to get a modest entry-level job, and then prove yourself for years, and that's totally inauthentic to me. Obviously, I could never do that. I want to be a filmmaker, and I'm realizing lately I have to do that. Now, here's why I realized that, and why I'm doing this for my career, and why I'm doing this on my YouTube channel. I'm not going to couchsurfing.com and creating an account there and trying to contact people and find out, oh, they haven't logged in for 6 months. None of that. This YouTube channel I have here is our social network. It's everyone's social network. And I want to use this to deal with people directly, where I'll be shaking their hands, where I'll be making agreements with them. If they want me to stay at their place, they can reach out to me directly. I don't want to deal with landlords. I'm not going to pay a landlord in December at the very least. I don't care how much money I make. That money will not go to them. They don't need it. And there's enough landlords in here who don't give a shit, who don't want to fix things in their tenants' homes, who don't want to respect them, who just want to scrape by everything they can because they don't even value themselves. Because if you value yourself, you're not going to treat other people like shit. But here's the reason why I'm doing this for my career and why I decided to do this yesterday. It's this book by Ron Perlman, Easy Street, The Hard Way. Ron Perlman's an actor and a writer. He talks about his whole life growing up and then becoming an actor and struggling for many years. In the end of the book, one of the last chapters, Perlman talks about what he wants for the future. And it's almost like this big Howard Beale speech in Network, where he talks about how we don't have the same ideals we used to, and we should strive to really tell great stories and not try and make great franchises that make a ton of money, and how movies have been taken over by greed and by executives who don't even necessarily like movies. They just want to make as much money as possible by making things that the most possible people will enjoy. So they have to be kind of simple pleasures. And at first it was funny. I was reading that chapter and I was like, all right, like it's a little over the top, the speech making and everything. So Ron Perlman, if you're watching this, as I was reading the words, I started getting into it and understanding more what you were saying and feeling it. And it felt powerful. And then I forgot about it. I went out, did some stuff, went to work that night. When I was at work, this overwhelming urge came over me and emerged out of me. And I knew I had to do this. I knew I had to decide right then that I was going to move out and either find a couch to sleep on, or I would just live in my car. There's no other option. I'm not willing to accept anything else. I'm not willing to part with my money to any goddamn landlord around here for at least a while. And I wondered, how did I come to that realization so strong? Normally, when I have ideas like that, I know how they've organized in my mind. But this, it kind of came out of me, and it was so powerful, and I was like, why am I thinking? It was, the urge was so strong. Like, I was scared because I'm like, man, I hope I'm not homeless. But I knew I had to do it because now, in my mind, I've already moved out of my home. It's like I'm just a guest here staying for a few days, passing through, and I'm looking at everything in my house, and I'm like, this isn't even mine. I'm just stopping by, and I'm going to leave soon. And once I make up my mind like that, it's like staying here would be totally inauthentic to me. I just can't do it. And what I realized the connection was that chapter of your book, Ron Perlman, it got into my subconscious so deep. And after everything else in your story and everything else I've gone through being a YouTube filmmaker for 10 years now, for almost 10 years, January 1st, 2009 is when my channel started, that it just burst out of my subconscious and came up like in a totally different spot. And that's when I realized I have to do this. I need to move out. I need to make this decision and take the chance on the generosity of strangers out there who are willing to be my friends and help me out. And again, I'll pay $5 a night, $37.50 a week, or $150 a month. And I'll be out most of the time, very respectful. Again, I'll let friends know where I am, so if anything happens to me, they'll be able to contact the police. But I'm counting on people who genuinely want to help. And it came from these ideas in Ron Perlman's book. So he said, you have to be bold. You have to go out and be willing to utterly fail. And that's exactly what I've always thought. I've always believed that. I'm like, well, yeah, that's right. Absolutely. And somehow that emerged from my subconscious and became this conscious thought of, I am not willing to live here anymore. I'm not willing to pay this much money just to get by. I want to go out and find new stories to tell. And also, I want to discover, how am I going to find this place that I want to live at, wherever it is? And I realized that came from Ron Perlman's book, Easy Street, The Hard Way. You know, I've had this book for about 2 years now, never picked it up to read it until recently. And somehow the day I was finishing this book was the day I decided I need to do this, to move out, to take a chance on people out there watching this video and being willing to support me with their homes and their generosity. And I knew I had to do that. I had no choice. I was scared. Oh my goodness, I was scared when I decided this. So that's why I made it November 30th. So I got a little cushion. At first I decided November 1st I'd do it. I'm like, oh, 2 weeks from now. Oh man. I know what my plan is. I feel utter certainty about it. I know I need to do it. And that this is going to mean so much to me. I'm going to be able to meet people. I'm going to be able to tell more stories that I want. Everything else beyond that, like being rich or whatever, it's not even a value to me. Those will arrive with making a value, and then I'll know what to do with the resources that come with being rich. For now, I don't need all that. I would not give a landlord money for any amount that I make throughout December at the very least. And then again, who knows? I may enjoy it so much I may travel around the whole country if people are willing to keep hosting me on their couches and floors. And it was just the most amazing timing that I read Ron Perlman's book when I did, that it just came out like this. Ron Perlman, thank you if you see this. By the way, I hope to work with you someday, and your friend Doug Jones, who I'm also a big fan of. Tell that Del Toro kid to look me up. We got to work on some movies. He's got to hire me. So again, Northern Virginia, DC, Maryland, preferably Eastern Shore couches, so I can get to Virginia easily over the bridges. Let me know if you have a place I can sleep on. I can be there short term. I'm not going to have much with me. I'm a very respectful person to be around. Another thing, I got to get rid of some stuff that I don't need. So I have a huge printer. It works great. I barely used it. I got it for a job selling insurance that I did for 10 days before I quit. I realized I didn't want the job. It connects wirelessly, super easy to set up. I'm selling that. So let me know if you want a printer. I'm also selling an iPad that I got for that job. Barely ever used it, barely operated it. I reset it. You can see it here in the video I'm showing. It's got a screen protector on it, a jacket. There's another screen protector I have, and it's got the charger with it. And so you're wondering, what are the prices for that printer and that iPad? Well, the answer is whatever I need to sell them for to get rid of them by November 30th. So make me an offer. I just need to sell them. And if I can't sell them by November 30th, I'll donate them wherever I can to a homeless shelter, you know, that helps people find homes and jobs. I'm just going to get rid of them. So let me know if you want to make an offer. Arlington is where I am, cash only. So just contact me again, flyingovertrout@gmail.com, trout spelled with a 0, not an O. Same thing with Twitter, flyingovertrout. You can message me on there. Facebook, flyingovertrout. Let me know. I'll read the comments too, but I prefer you send me a message privately. That way we can work out what the details are, if you've got a couch to sleep on, or if you want to buy the printer or the iPad. I'm so glad I'm doing this. I know I need to do this. I know the videos are going to get even better as a result of this. I know people are going to help me out, and I'm going to meet lots of people, and I'm going to do all kinds of things that I want to do and learn so much more about movies and filmmaking. Because remember, I'm writing screenplays. I want to direct movies in addition to making funny YouTube videos and working with YouTube entertainers. So let me know, people out there, if you can help me out. And like Ron Perlman says in his book, again, check out this cover right here. Man, he looks intense. But he's a great actor. I love him. He says, when you live true to what you are and you're authentic to yourself, that's easy street. Everything else, what you're doing, it's just sort of a bonus that comes with it. So that's what this is. This is the easiest decision to make, even though, yeah, it comes rife with, certain challenges, but I know I have to do it. I know the housing situation around the DC area is outrageous, and it needs to be addressed. And there needs to be more affordable housing around here, either more apartments or more small houses. There aren't small houses really, but apartments, small houses. All these uppity white rich people who don't want their property values dropping are going to have to reckon with the fact that people need places to live, and that there's no reason people should have to make and spend an assload of money just to be able to live. And so I'm not doing it. I'm not going to go along with it. You want to help me out? I want to pay you directly. We'll make a deal with a handshake. No lease. We'll figure it out. The most I ask to be able to eat in your home is just oatmeal, or if you don't have a microwave or whatever, I can't use it. If I can just have cereal and milk in your fridge, I'll do that. I'm not going to bring spices for the pantry or anything. None of that. I am living very, very simply. Again, you can donate to me if you want to support me. And like Ron Perlman says, when you're being authentic to yourself, that's easy street. Everything else is bonus. So thank you all so much for watching. Hey, share the video, retweet it, post it on Facebook, send it to your friends. Let people know Angelo needs a place to stay. I'm going to keep everybody updated. I'm going to post lots of videos about this whole experience. By November 30th, whatever happens, my stuff is going to be out of the house I live in, and I'm going to be living somewhere else, whether it's on someone's couch, their floor, or in my car. Thank you, Ron Perlman, for helping motivate me to make this decision. You all got to read his book, Easy Street, The Hard Way. Just feels like an amazing opportunity has opened up itself for me, like in these spaces that emerged from getting ideas from reading his book and everything else that's informed me. These opportunities arose, and now I have to take it. There's no other way. So thanks again. I'll keep you all updated.